man, don't let today be like this. Why does it have to be like this, dude? Hello? Anyone home? Hello? Oh, apparently we're live, Sonny. How are you? Did you know that you're live? Hello? Well, we're live. All right. Today is October 23rd, 2023. We are walking into a week to where, there's more questions than answers. We are opening up red. The dollar has been dripping down. VIX has been, fairly stable, but kind of dribbling down off of its highs at the same time. Apple, obviously, with the big news that I think is a decent piece of the market sagging. You have Apple going down that much, it's going to be a problem. Apple hovering around 170 basically, historically has been a pretty important level in throughout here. Is there anybody else here with me?
Hey, I'm here.
Stonks. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God.
Hey.
Oh my goodness. All right. So vendors doing stuff. So, we're here like this. Julian, can you hear me on YouTube? Can anybody hear on the YouTube?
YouTube can hear.
YouTube can hear. All right. So here we go. I went through the brief little run. Sonny, are you ready to kind of walk through?
He says his mic's not working.
Sonny's mic is not working. All right, Stonk, it's all you, buddy. It's all you.
Let's party. All right, I clicked share, but we might be not sharing, so we'll just jump into stuff. Hey, all right, we're sharing. Okay, let's go through everything. Let's see what we got. Upgrades, anything. Okta downside, we saw that news. They suck at cybersecurity. Alcoa downgraded. Any of this stuff. Meta price target raised. Roku was downgraded from 80 to 70. McDonald's downgraded to 310. American Express price target lowered from 202 to 200. Whoa, big move. And then Sedge still sucks. I think that's it for the big ones. I don't really see anything else that looks too interesting. Check out the news. Let's see. Chevron's going to acquire Hess. Anything else? Yeah, we've got, and as Hells was saying, this is a big week. We got all the earnings. We've got Microsoft, Amazon, Meta. Let's see. Yeah, Okta news. Doesn't look like a ton of Okta news. So let's get into some charts over here. Let's see what we got. Look here. Check out what we've got on the SPY. We had that red close.
I
So
think your NQ over here is going to be, or you're doing SPY first. I think it's going to be pretty important with all these the earnings this week. Basically, everybody except for Apple reports this week.
right. Yeah, there's going to be a lot. We can look at the smash stuff first here because we keep closing below the prior day's low, which means it's smash day potential to the upside. So it hasn't worked yet. The only we keep closing below the prior day's low, which means it's smash day to the upside for the next day, but we haven't done it yet. You can see here there'd be a lot of stops right here if we're thinking ICT style. So I don't know if they want to go take these guys out. But if we, why don't we jump over to look at the ES with all the markup here, and we can kind of talk through it. There was this guy's stop that was really the last one that we have now swept, and then we found a little bit of bounce. Since we're on the December contract, we look back, there's not really that much else until there's this guy's stop well below. There. So we'll see what we get over there on the NASDAQ. We've got our new week opening gap. It's going to be this pink box. So we sliced down through that in the overnight session. So if we can get back above that, we can see there's probably some bearish break-even stops right up in here. And then our next gap would be on 4 hours, going to be up there. So we'll see what we get, if we can get cooking up through that. We got this volume imbalance here on the daily there. Some upside stuff to be on the lookout for. And then we got this daily fair value gap here. And currently, we haven't opened yet, but this would be also potentially unbalanced price action to the upside. And then if we kind of zoom out here, this is kind of, this big falling flag that I've been waiting for. We came down, we could easily overshoot down here, but this would maybe be something that we could be looking for this to start to work as support here on the ES. The NASDAQ's looking a bit similar. Jump over to that. So we've got, again, new week opening gap. There's going to be this pink box here. We had this double bottom on the daily. That was, a lot of stops sitting there. We've already swept that and started to bounce. And then we've got this big falling flag. We've got this weekly gap below if we really needed to get pushing to the downside. We've got room potentially down to 14,244.50 there on the weekly. Similarly, above, we left the gap. These big selling days have left gaps. So we'll see. We basically just had a week of straight red candles there. So above, we've got this room up to this 14,979.25 on the NASDAQ. Similar volume imbalance as well above. So kind of going to see what we got. Obviously, yeah, we've got all the big earnings that, could have some impacts here. See what geopolitics still fired up. Russell's just been big rip to the downside. Let's see, we've got the new week opening gap. We filled this weekly gap from way back. This candle's high to that candle's low, so that's already filled. And then we've got, I marked up this, if we had to keep going to the downside, this 1647 looks like a key level just based on all these reactions here. So we'll see if we get down there. Jump back over to the daily. To the upside, we've got this gap with room up to 1737. And then we have this weekly volume imbalance that we traded in and through, but we didn't lay the candle over it. So I think that thing could still be in play over there. That kind of covers the main indices. What else? Hells, you got anything else you wanted to kind of go through this morning?
No, I think that expectations and flow reading and that kind of stuff need to be, I think this is going to be more pure and naked trading in a lot of ways this week until we push through ERs. I expect flow to be an absolute shit show. We just do, with shots being taken all over the place. I think that, it's interesting because some of the names that we would normally look at, they're all ER related with the exception of Apple. right?
Hmm.
And following some of these and getting momentum ideas on some of these based off of them reporting this week can they can be a little bit messy. If you're trying to if you're trying to follow the momentum, because momentum can be very interesting. The only thing that I think that is more or less positive is kind of signaling that maybe this thing in Gaza won't be as big as what a lot of people are making it out to be. And really one of the only pieces that I can really look at there's a follow through on that and a through line on that is the fact that uh, gold is down and crude is down this morning. So those pieces kind of speak to, well, maybe it's not as bad as we thought. Maybe there we'll get a little, relaxation, if you will, on some of this. And that's that is kind of like a friendly feeling looking at it coming into the day. um, it's a very precarious place on the charts. We've broken a lot of structure, a lot, but we're also extremely oversold going into an season that so far hasn't been horrible. They've been reporting okay,
Hmm.
right? Okay reports, and okay is like that becomes in the eye of the beholder, if you will. So I think for me walking into it, I'm looking at it that we need them to report well, but we're not going to get big reports until tomorrow after the close. But it also, one thing that I think I'm pretty sure about is this market is extremely short going into mega cap when many of them are oversold, completely oversold. So that creates a completely different dynamic as far as what is and what is not priced in after they report. So, I think today there's going to be a lot of opportunity. I think tomorrow, pretty much the same as today, we'll start getting decent direction when mega cap reports. Um, I do expect volatility. That I do expect because we are so oversold. Like this is within a whisper of squeezing to the upside. It's also within a whisper of losing that low that we created this morning. That, you know, when I got up at 3 and, just 3 Eastern, and I checked futures. I was like, oh, wow, it's nice and green. And I woke up at, 6:45 and, talk about a complete reversal and dump out. So I think that kind of still tells the tape on the overall market. They're going to do their best to make, if they are going to cover, it's going to be a controlled cover because it's been a controlled sell, minus a
Right.
headline that gets us going. What do you think?
No, I'm with you. I think it's a good kind of, mindset's like, yeah, everyone has got to be thinking everyone's loaded in so short, which I think, when we get those moves to the upside, they can be kind of violent, snapbacks. So,
Could be. And you and I could agree that this is basically off the bottom. We put in a bear flag this morning,
hmm.
right?
Hmm. Yeah.
If we look at SQQQ, that's a pretty significant falling wedge over there,
Yeah. That thing, let's see.
right? If we just take a gander at that one.
Yeah. Coming up into this looks like a key level over here, right
Hmm.
up here on SQQQ. That's something around that 2125 ish. You can see how many times we rejected in there. So
Hmm.
that'll be interesting.
Right.
Uh, and then, yeah, it's kind of just been like riding this trend line here up. So, yeah, we'll see. This
And
looks like a
then
key
and then
spot.
if you start looking at the dollar, the dollar's been a thing. It's like I can make a case and be like, you know what? If I'm looking at it on, on a smaller time frame, that's a bear flag also. Like a 1 minute on the dollar, that's a bear flag. 5 minute bear flag. 15 minute, you start looking at it like, oh, well, maybe that's a double bottom there on the dollar.
Right.
Dollar has had a little bit of sell, and this is one of the things on Friday that was really really precarious for me, and I think a lot of other people. You had the dollar red, you had the VIX red, and you had the market red.
Yeah. The
that
VIX.
was one of those precarious little elements that, and what's interesting, Stonk, is like on Friday when we came into the morning, you were leaning long, I was leaning long, Bender was leaning long, right? And some of
Mhm.
the pieces of doing that were the dollar's going to come down and the VIX is going to melt. We had those things take place, but we still shat. We
Yep.
still pushed the downside until at the end of the day, people started loading back into VIX-ish type products and, it got its move. And that move at the end of the day, Friday, was debilitating to any type of bull dream, if you will. So it's like some of the things that we know and have known through the years, we've liked to look at certain indicators, and sometimes those indicators are perfect, spot on, tick for tick, and sometimes there is a massive divergence and we're not getting what we're getting. I think one of the biggest players in all of this is going to be, the dollar is a piece, but you just can't have the dollar, crashing out. I think that might be a bigger problem than not. And the dollar doesn't have to go down for the market to go up. The big piece of it for me is the VIX. And I think I said it 1,000 different times on Friday. Uh, what the fuck? Where are we going with this? I think that was basically a quote. Like, what's going on with the VIX? Why are we continuing to crank the upside? And you can't see a bearish, play on the VIX right now. We've had a little dip, right? And it's a good little dip that we've had overnight. But I think a lot of that is based on the fact that the world didn't end this weekend. It's like, okay, world didn't end. All right. Okay. So we get another week. But even its sell down, that looks like yet another falling wedge on the VIX, which, when they decide to make that move, you look at a 5 minute, it's up against support. You look at a 5 minute on the VIX, and it's like, yeah, no, this thing can play boogie if it wants to, back to the upside. It loses this area and through here. I don't know. What do we got? What do we got? But between geopolitics and between, mega cap earnings this week, I would be very surprised to see a broad sell-off in the VIX without a headline. But at the same time, with everything being so low, and this it gets so convoluted, why do people put the VIX on? Why do people put protection on? They put it on for protection. So you get saying like, oh, well, maybe not everybody's going to die in the Middle East. Okay, cool, check. Maybe we can take some off. Okay, so earnings weren't so bad. Maybe we can take some off. Or what are they doing it for protection? What are they hedging against? God knows they've been selling like blind monkeys for the past week. So what are they actually, what's left to protect? Y'all been selling. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough trading week. So, and I don't like to, pull any punches on it. It's going to be a tough trading week. This is for big boys and big girls. So those are my thoughts. What you got?
No, it's good stuff. Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, when I was looking at the crude chart, I'm actually, I was looking for it to come down to this level. We caught a nice short on crude last night over in the main room. This is kind of this is a key spot. We're in this rising setup. And if this was just going to be a bear flag, here's where I would look for it to kind of fall out. But when I jump over here to the daily, there's a lot of stops up there, and we didn't go stop this guy out. So I would imagine that's going to be an objective. And, we've got the geopolitical situation going on, which, you heard you say before, Middle East, look for crude. So, and we know there's stops here, and we know there's going to be stops here. So I was looking for it to fill this 4-hour gap, which it has now done. And we're sitting at the bottom of it to the tick right here, this low to that high, we're sitting right there. So I will definitely be focusing and calling trades on crude today. And then, we'll just kind of keep some of the other stuff that you
Very
mentioned
nice.
in mind.
Yeah. Hey, man, I think if you can find something alternative to trade, I think crude is, but again, that is extraordinarily volatile over there. That's a headline from, making you a hero to a zero. It's like that one is, as is gold in a lot of ways. It's like it's a very, very tricky market, very tricky. And the fact that we were up and then sold all the way down and through, I think in a perfect world, what I'd like to see is us trade that level to the downside first, and then bounce with a red to green kind of a day. That would be, if I were to draw out the perfect picture, we'd come down, we recheck the lows. So if you're talking about SPY in particular, if you're looking at that and not necessarily the ES, look at this 418 level, right?
Yep.
We get if we can hold 418 and then rally back up and close green, you got to call the day a victory. If we pop and then spend the rest of the day selling down to 418, man.
A lot of talk about the 200 day. Let's see what we got over here.
Which we're below, right?
Yep, that's going to be this light blue on the daily. Get rid of this.
And where is that trading at? Like what?
200's up here, just not too far above at 422.50. It's that blue wavy line down here. So that was a lot of talk on Friday that we would go and mess with that. So we'll see, because that could be resistance now up at 422.50-ish.
You would imagine the first pass will be resistance, and we'll see how it regroups. But, you know, just like anything else, it depends how we get there.
Right.
It's like we can sit there and flag just below it, flag for a couple hours, and then absolutely shred it. So I don't know. I think we have to be sharp. I think we have to really, really work as teammates. If you're out there trading without a teammate, you know, God bless you. But I think teammate type activity in this environment can be really, really good and helpful. I don't have anything else. Do you?
No, I think that's good. I'm going to be focused on the dollar, crude. We'll see what treasury yields are looking like. That market's been kind of running inverse to that. The 10-year has been on fire. So we're just going to kind of, you know, as we always do.
You have a 10-year chart you throw up?
Let's see. I do the yield, and you can see this thing's been on fire. Last week we were looking at this double top over here, and
that worked out well.
Yeah, that thing just, you know, if the double top played out, and then there, you know, ICT, you'd be thinking, well, there's bears with break-even stops. So now we're above that.
Can you put it on a 1 hour?
Let's get the 1 hour here,
and that looks a little bit more intriguing as far as pushing down.
Yeah, so we'll see this round number 5%. You know, this was when all the alarm bells were going off last week that said, oh, we're going to hit 5%. We're going to hit 5%. So, you know, that we crossed it. We're pulling back. So this is going to be one that I'll, you know, it's good to keep an eye on, because for the past, you know, look at this rip and then think about what the SPY did over the past, this same number of days. So I think that's going to be something that, you know, I like to just kind of jump in and check every couple, you know, hour or so. So we're aware. So something else to keep in mind.
All right, buddy. You with us today?
Yes, sir. I'll be here.
Oh, dude, this is fucking great.
Fucking good times.
All right, very good. I ain't got shit else. You?
I'm good. I'll be ready.
Let's make it a productive day. And just so you know, you do not have to trade in order for your day to be productive. So keep that in mind also. We have 10 minutes until open, 10 minutes until open. We'll see you soon.
Okay.